Good morning, everyone, especially to our dearest professor, Ma'am Nerissa M. Beatriz. By the way, my name is Amika N. Mapusao, Teacher 1 from Mabuhay Elementary School, Siruma District, your presenter for this morning. So my topic is all about Brunner's theory of constructivism. I have here three objectives. First is to determine the meaning and concept of Brunner's constructivism. Second, identify the three modes of representation of Jerome Brunner. And the third one is to identify the principles of Brunner's constructivist theory. Okay, so let us first know who is Jerome Seymour Brunner. So he is regarded as one of the most influential and renowned educational psychologists of the 20th century. So he developed the constructivist theory, which suggests that learners construct new knowledge based on their previous knowledge. So in 1966, he researched the cognitive development of children and identified three stages of representation, so namely the inactive stage, iconic stage, and the symbolic representation stage. He also believed that the intellectual development of an individual should be primary goal of education instead of rote memorization. So what is social constructivism? So it is an approach to learning that involves the use of existing knowledge to gain new knowledge. So this is an existing knowledge integrated with new information to expand the knowledge an individual possesses. So a learner is considered successful. So when he or she can embed new information with the previous information he or she holds. So a learner in social constructivism is always considered to be subjective because they will have different experiences and therefore will develop a unique perspective of the world. So it is a child-centered. So a major theme in the theoretical framework of Brunner is that learning is an active process. So wherein learners construct new knowledge or ideas based upon their current or past knowledge. So learners select and transform information, construct hypotheses, and make decisions. So relying on a cognitive structure to do so. So when we say cognitive structure, so it is the schema or the mental models in which it provides meaning and organization to experiences and allows the individual to go beyond the information. Okay, so what are the three modes of representation? First is the inactive stage. So from 0 to 1 year old. So it is the first stage of representation in which it is characterized by encoding and storing informations. So objects are directly manipulated, disregarding the object's internal representation. So for an example, so when a child shakes a rattle, he or she will expect the rattle to make a noise or sound based on his or her experience. So it involves encoding or action-based information and storing it in our memory. Okay, so in the form of movement as a muscle memory, so a baby might remember the action of shaking a rattle. Okay, so the child represents past events through motor responses. Okay, so that this the example is when a child shake a rattle, which has just been removed or dropped. So as if the movements themselves are expected to produce the accustomed sound. So, and this is not just limited to children. So many adults can perform a variety of motor tasks. For an instance, typing, sewing a shirt, operating a lawn mower, and that they would find difficult to describe in iconic or picture or symbol or word form. Okay, so that is the inactive stage. So how about the iconic stage? So it is from 1 to 6 years old. So in this stage, external objects have internal representation through visual forms of mental icons and images. So for example, a child drawing a car is a characteristic of this stage. Okay, so this is where information is stored visually in the form of images. Okay, for some, this is conscious. Others says they don't experience it. So this may explain why. So when we are learning a new subject, so it is often helpful to have diagrams or illustration to accompany verbal information, right? Okay, from that we are going to easily understand the topic or the lesson. Okay, so the third stage is the symbolic stage, which start from 7 years old onward. Okay, so during this stage, information storage takes place through symbols or codes, such as language. So each symbol is representative of something it relates to. So for an instance, so mangoes are a symbolic representation of one kind of fruit. Okay, another is dog is an example of represents of single class. Okay, so this is the most adaptable form of representation for actions and images. Have fixed relation in what which they represent. Okay, symbols are flexible in that they can be manipulated, ordered, and classified so that the user is not constrained by actions or images. So in this stage, knowledge is stored primarily as words, mathematical symbols, or in other symbol system. Okay, so Brunner's constructivist theory suggests that it is effective when faced with new material to follow a progression from inactive to iconic to symbolic representation. So this holds for adult learners. So a true instructional designer, Brunner's work also suggests that a leader even of a very young age is capable of learning any material so long as the instruction is organized appropriately. So in sharp contrast to the belief of Piaget and other stage theorists. Okay, so it is written here that code such as language. Okay, so we have here the importance of language. So it is important for the increased ability to deal with abstract concepts. Okay, so Bruno argues that language can code stimuli and free an individual from the constraints of dealing only with appearance to provide a more complex yet flexible cognition. So the use of words can aid the development of concept they represent and can remove the constraint of the here and now concept. So basically says the infant as an intelligent and active problem solver from birth. So with intellectual abilities basically similar to those of the mature adult. So according to Brunner, the child represents the world to himself in three different ways. Okay, so for Brunner, the purpose of education is not to impart knowledge, but instead to facilitate a child's thinking and problem-solving skills, which can be transferred to a range of situations. Okay, so Brunner's 1966 states that a theory of instruction should address four major aspects. Okay, so Brunner states that a theory of instruction should address four major aspects. So the first one is the predisposition towards learning. So Brunner believed that the desires to learn and to undertake problem solving could be activated by devising problem activities in which students would explore alternative solutions. So the major condition for the exploration of alternatives was the presence of some optimal level of uncertainty. So this related directly to the student's curiosity to resolve uncertainty and ambiguity. So the teacher would design discrepant event activities that would pique the student's curiosity. So for example, the teacher might fill a glass with water and ask the students how many pennies they think can be put in the jar without any water spilling. So since most students think that only a few pennies can be put in the glass, so their curiosity is aroused when the teacher is able to put between 25 to 50 pennies in before any water spill. So this activity can lead to an exploration of displacement, surface tension, variables such as the size of the jar, how full the glass is, and so forth. So in this activity, students would be encouraged to explore various alternatives to the solution of the problem by conducting their own experiment with jars of water and pennies. Okay, the second one is the way in which a body of knowledge can be structured so that it can be most readily grasped by the learner. Okay, Brunner expressed saying that the curriculum specialist and teacher must specify the ways in which a body of knowledge should be structured so that it can be most readily grasped by the learner. So this idea became one of the important notions ascribed to Brunner. So he explained this way: any idea or problem or body of knowledge can be presented in a form simple enough so that any particular learner can understand it in a recognizable form. Okay, so we're going to make an instruction which is understandable by everybody. Okay, the third one is the most effective sequences in which to present a material. So instruction should lead the learner through the content in order to increase the student's ability to grasp, transform, and transfer what is learned. So sequencing should move from inactive or hands-on, concrete, to iconic or visual, to symbolic or the descriptions in words or mathematical symbols. So however, the sequence will be dependent on the student's symbolic system and learning style. So as we will see, so this principle of sequencing is common to theories developed by Piaget as well as other cognitive psychologists. Okay, the fourth one is the nature and pacing of rewards and punishment. So this is our motivation for our learners to do their activities. Okay, so Brunner suggests that movements from extrinsic rewards, such as teacher's praise, for example, very good, excellent. So toward intrinsic rewards inherent in solving problems or understanding the concept as desirable. So to Brunner, learning depends upon knowledge of result when it can be used for correction. So feedback to learners is critical to the development of knowledge. So the teacher can provide a vital link to the learner in providing feedback at first. So as well, helping the learner develop techniques for obtaining feedback on his or her own. Okay, so according to Brunner, good methods for structuring knowledge should result in simplifying, generating new propositions, and increasing the manipulation of information. Okay, so Brunner's constructivist theory is a general framework for instruction based upon the study of cognition. So much of the theory is linked to a child development research, so especially Piaget. So the idea is outlined in Brunner 1960, originated from a conference focused on science and math learning. So Brunner illustrated his theory in the context of mathematics and social science programs for young children. So the original development of framework for reasoning processes is described in Brunner, Goodnow, and Austin. Okay, Brunner 1983 focused on language learning in young children. Okay, so this is an example taken from Brunner 1973. Okay, the concept of prime numbers appears to be more readily grasped when the child, through construction, discovers that certain handfuls of bean cannot be laid out in completed rows and columns. Such quantities have either to be laid out in a single file or in an incomplete row or column design in which there is always one extra or one too few to fill the pattern. So this pattern the child learns happen to be called the prime. So it is easy for the child to go from this step to the recognition that a multiple table, so-called, is a record sheet of quantities in completed multiple rows and columns. So these are the factoring, multiplication, and primes in a construction that can be visualized. Okay, so we have here three principles. Okay, the first principle, instruction must be concerned with the experiences and context that make the student or learners willing and able to learn. Okay, so this is the readiness. So when we say readiness, it refers to how well equipped a pupil is to learn, including circumstantial and environmental factors. So a student with a low readiness to learn may be encumbered by difficult personal circumstances in his or her life. So, or a lower emotional or physical maturity. So it can point to external distraction or a personal barrier. So medium scoring pupils may have medium or high ability and interest in learning. Okay, the second principle, instruction must be structured so that it can be easily grasped by the student. Okay, that's why we have the differentiated instruction. Okay, so we are going to make an instruction depends on the level of understanding of our pupils. Okay, the third principle, instruction should be designed to facilitate extrapolation and or fill in the gaps going beyond the information given. Okay, so when we say extrapolation, it is the action of estimating or concluding something by assuming so that the existing trends will continue or current method will remain applicable. Okay, so we have things to reconsider in constructivism. So as far as instruction is concerned, the instructor should try and encourage students to discover principles by themselves. So we're giving our pupils to discover on how they are going to solve any problems. Another one, the instructor and student should engage in active. Okay, so when we say active dialogue, so this is the interaction between the teachers and the pupils. Okay, the third things to consider, the task of the instructor is to translate information to be learned into a format appropriate to the learner's current state of understanding. So we're going to make an appropriate instruction. So we have differentiated instruction in which we are going to make differentiated instruction for our pupils to understand the lesson depending on their level of understanding. And then another one is curriculum should be organized in a spatial spiral manner so that the student continually builds upon what they have already learned. So when we say spiral manner or spiral curriculum, so is one which there is an iterative revisiting of topics, subjects or themes throughout the course. Okay, so there is always a review. So a spiral curriculum is not simply the repetition of a topic taught. So it requires also the deepening of it with each successive encounter building on the previous one. Okay, so it is not only repetition of the topic. So it is deepening or giving a deep understanding of the topic. So according to Brunner, learning happens according to these three stages, and the direct manipulation of objects so is responsible for the beginning of learning. So in social constructivism learning theory, learners have to play an active role and take parts in activities that improve their self-organization skills and creativity. Okay, so for more information about these topics. So these were the references. This is Bruner J. 1960, The Process of Education, Cambridge, Harvard University. Bruner J. 1966, Toward a Theory of Instruction, Cambridge, Harvard University Press. Bruner J. 1973, Going Beyond the Information Given, New York Norton. Bruner J. 1983, Child's Talk, Learning to Use Language, New York Norton. Okay, Bruner J. 1986, Actual Minds, Possible Words, Cambridge, Harvard University Press. Bruner J. 1990, Acts of Meaning, Cambridge, MA, Harvard University Press. Bruner J. 1996, The Culture of Education, Cambridge, Harvard University Press. And Bruner J. Goodnow J. and Austin A. 1956, A Study of Thinking, New York, Wiley. Okay, I hope that you gain more information about my topic. Once again, good morning and thank you very much for watching.